Sivarama Prasad, visiting faculty at IARE. Today we will talk about innovation, how it is taking part in our life, how it begins, how it was there. See, earlier the people were very contented and they have very limited needs, but they enjoyed life thoroughly, though they were living only for survival or anything. Later on, what happened? People started having desires, wants, and once the desires come, there will be a lot of changes, and we have to look for everyday new, and we will be demanding unexpected, unimaginable, all those things. A lot of things have come. But during the course, what happened is, whatever we have thought yesterday as expectations or surprises, they became today's needs. And whatever desires today, they are going to become the basic needs of tomorrow. That's why you see a lot of changes and a lot of expectations. It started coming. Normally, we work with 5 M's. People say 5 M's. That is material with which we have to do the product, machine or method, and then money is the resource. Money means other resources also. And then men play the major role. Men in the sense people. They play double role. One side, they'll be the doer. Another side, they are getting served and taking the service. So with these changes in this life, the people who are going to serve, they have to get different capabilities. Whatever we have earlier, they are not sufficient today. Earlier, just managing with situation, but today, the situations are becoming so changing, so unimaginable, so flexible. We have to find different skills. Whether it is official life or family life or friendly life or spiritual life, whatever it is, the changes have become a common thing. So when there are so many changes, to handle that, generally people found innovation as one of the biggest solution or answer. That is, you think innovatively, talk innovatively, do creatively, deliver, live, everything. That's how earlier days to nowadays, the innovation name is being used everywhere and everyone is using, and this has become the major buzzword. What actually is innovation? Innovation is, first it is things, doing things. That means from idea, you have to get into the action mode. When action means practically you have to apply that creative ideas, because when things are changing, the ideas have to be so creative that they should be able to serve it. That means new ideas, new actions, new processes, and at the end, you have to deliver the value to the customer or to the user, to the giver, whatever it is. And also, you have to convert the needs into the opportunities for a marketing. And also, here, when you have to do a product, it is not only the doer, but an entrepreneurship is required. He has to create, he has to find the people, he has to bring in the inventor, he has to bring in the idea generator, he has to create a novel technology, and then he has to do it in the lab. From there, you have to convert that into a market. All these things, an entrepreneur can do it. So, in life, this innovation is taking the major role to do the things and convert the ideas into the regular services or products. Suppose if you take as an employee, he has to be very innovative or creative to improve his skills, improve his performance, improve his career. Then he has to see his own desires and wants. And as an employer, if you take, he has to serve, sustain the customer, get the returns, create wealth, and also improve the economy or people's life, like that. When you go to regular general people, when you have to create a relationship, friendship, celebrations, getting together, all these things, you cannot do same thing day in and day out. So you have to do innovatively new things so that there is an enthusiasm and also there is a joy in the spending. First of all, ideas, everybody will get it. Once you get an idea, that is a creation. From there, you have to convert that into action or a product or anything. But many of the ideas, like dreams, they just fade away. If it is fading away, there is no use. So this innovation, that only puts you into the action. First, that idea you have to try as a process, whether it is feasible or can you really do it. That is the place where invention is called. So first, it is invention. Then that invention, you will attempt it to practical thing. You want to put it into practice. That is where the innovation comes. So, idea into action. That is the major thing. Innovation means it is nothing, something has fallen from the sky or anything. This process, but with enthusiasm and interest, you have to do it so that you will be getting new ideas, new things, creative things. And if you see, it is not that innovation is only today, it is taking. It was there. But when it is in the earlier stages, when the things were only for solving the problem, it was in a very infant stage, like a problem solver. Later on, when people started looking at some improvements, it is looked at as improving some of the small things in a small way or big way, whatever it is, with some new thinking. Then, now only it has become very visible because the desires are so glaringly different. Dreams are so unimaginable, and you are looking at choices and fashions of your own. That is why this new thinking, creative thinking has become so visible. Otherwise, earlier we were doing it in a very small way. And now what is happening is, in future, what you have to do it, that you are doing it as a totally different, radical thinking, radical innovation, disruptive, like that. When it comes to such stage, earlier man was primary, and today technology is taking that primary role. So man is using the technology to do all these things. Earlier, there were some small, simple techniques. If you see general examples, when a man is walking, providing chappal or boots or shoes, that is an improvement. When a man is going on a cycle, giving a 5 gear or electric or a motorbike, these are all small innovations. And the later on what happened is, when the things have come into the communication, that is the place, that is the time where you have seen a lot of innovations into the taking place. Like from a landline to cell, or a normal camera, video, smartphone, YouTube, all these things from cell, and also the TVs and the cars, different things you will see. If you see very old day, how cooking was done is just in an open fire. From there, small, they call it as kumpati. Then a rice husk, wood husk, sawdust. Then a stove. Then a kerosene gas. Kerosene is filled and then it is pumped in so that it forms like a small mist. Then gas stove has come. Until gas stove, it is not that people were not cooking. People were cooking, but in a very primitive way, very olden ways. Gas has come. Similarly, when you see water is heated in an open or some boiler, then immersion heater. Now it has come onto the electric heater, automatically heated. Same way, food cooking also. Normal vessel, the pressure cooker, then automatic electric cooker. These are all innovations only, small improvements in innovation. If you see, for air movement, earlier people used to have hand fan, then fan, ceiling, table, stand, pedestal. then cooker, and then cooler, then AC with centralized, automatic, remote controlled, purifier, all those things are. Same way in transport, if you see a simple bicycle, then 5-gear bicycle, then e-bicycle. Like this, every period there were innovations and there were improvements. How the innovation framework works? Normally, it runs with a person. A person will have a passion. He will become an expert in that field. He will love that field and he will start doing some new things in his expertise. Then he will start taking some challenging things. He will start asking assumptions, questioning the assumptions. Then new opportunities he will innovate. Then he will get into experimentation. Then he will start creating some new things. While he is doing these passionate things, generally he will not have a fear. If it is fails, he will think, okay, I will correct it, I will do it. That is how the passion works and innovation comes into this. Suppose there is a fear, nobody will think. Suppose he is not having an interest, then someone has to drive daily. This innovation, passion, all these things, it is self-generated and it used to come. Earlier, people were doing it with a small way. And that time, there were not very big developments. When new things have come, now it has become, you have to train people for getting these new ideas. Earlier, some born talent was there, some people used to think, and that was sufficient for normal living. But today, when industry has grown so big, the born talent is not sufficient. You have to create and train talent and bring in competency so that people start thinking innovatively, creatively, and for every issue they will find different solutions, improvements. There are some, it is not that something new science or anything. It is a compilation of lot of people's experience, how they developed that thinking of creating a new idea or think different or creative working. How it is here you will see some list of items. What is that is? First you have to say what I have learned today. Then how I can improve for tomorrow. Today we are in LKG. We will not be there lifelong in LKG. Tomorrow we have to go to first standard, then fifth, then 10th, like that. So when you think of that, you will get some ideas. Same way, suppose today you are on one idea. You have to think laterally, one step away. That means, if this is not there, what it will be. Same way, you visit, suppose you have your own stores, your own working, your own agricultural field. You just see your own, how people are working. Then you go to your next field or competitor stores. You see it. Then how they are working, how differently they are working, what is good in that, what is bad in ours, you think of it. Something like that. And next is, you might have solved some very good thing or you have a great idea proven in one area. You see that, you start thinking of working it in different area, where it will work or how it will be. You just have a analysis or you just have a see. Another thing is, you take a conflict. That means, why it should happen? Suppose things are happening, why it should happen? You have your own conflict. Then from conflict, you will get a different idea. And you can see some of the social media and all, wherein many times what happens is you will get only your own liking things. You start looking at other side. When there is two things, one person will be telling all positives, another person will be telling all negatives. From negatives again, you will find some starting points for your ideas. Sometimes you can think of reverse thinking. That is, totally think oppositely. If you have to go to one place, think of it, if I go to other place, what happens? So opposite of it, when you think, you will get different ideas. Another thing is, there are different things. Can I substitute these? Can I combine these? Can I adopt some other thing? Can we modify this process? Can we put this for something else? Or can we totally eliminate it? Or reverse it or rearrange it? Like that, different things. Same idea, same thing. You think of any of these things will it work. Then you will get a different use of it. Sometimes what happens is, you have to mix it, a cat with a rat. What happens? Some innovative thing will come. Sometimes think in a different way so that totally unrelated. Suppose you are using pen. Think it that if I do this as a knife, what will happen? Then you can try also. Then what happens? You will see. From that, you will get different ideas. Sometimes what happens is, you have to go to different, external visits. What happens is, when you participate in such events, you will be acting or you will be thinking in a different way, and you may have to act at that particular minute in a different way. So these things and all generate a turbulence in your mind, and you will start giving different ideas for you. That means your brain starts thinking differently. Sometimes what you think is, we will have 100 assumptions. Under these assumptions and limitations, you have to work. Suppose you remove all those assumptions, you will be a free bird. Then how you will behave? Or sometimes, it is not that you just see it or work it. Show some curiosity, show some enthusiasm. With that, when you look, you think different ideas into that. And there are some, when you look at the customer complaints or somebody who is always complaining about any activity, you will find a different opportunity in that. That means some opportunities you have not thought of, it may come out. And when you are discussing with some experts, there will be some interesting topics. From that, you will get innovative idea. And when you are talking with different people, like one spiritual, one commercial, one businessman, one normal family, when you are talking, all people will have their own view of the incident or in any product or anything. And you will get different opinions from different groups. And one more thing is, when you want innovation, startingly you don't look at certain perfection, all those things. Let it be open and just like that, let it come out. When it is coming out, you will find different. It may be foolish also, but still you will find a different idea which may not work today, it may work tomorrow. And sometimes, if you see in a group, most of the people will tell yes, but some people will tell totally bad, some people will tell totally abnormal things. These two abnormal things, they become some of the sources for innovation. And many of our questions, we write what to do. Instead of that, you take what you should not do. From that, you will get a lot of opportunities. And another thing is, pull type or push type. First you have all the list of problems. Then you started doing solutions, problem solving. That is one method. That means you have a list of things, then you will start. Another thing is push. You think positively for future, then you start exploring that trends, technology, capabilities and all. You start working on that. One is bottom up, another is top down. Another thing is reactive and proactive. What happens is, suppose someone is using the products or someone is experienced, then from that you can learn his feedback, his experiences, lessons. You can learn it, and that will give an opportunity for you to how to work on a solution mode. But generally, what happens is these reactive things you always get on the past or some to some extent present, but they will not be able to give what is required for future. So you have to think proactively also. That is that time you have to find some target groups and you start questioning it in a different way. And what will be emerging, what will be evolving, what is inspirational, what is experiencing, all those things they will give for the future. So both you have to club, because if you leave the past, you may make mistakes for future. And if you only look at the past, you will not be able to move forward. So you have to take the experience of past and then apply it for future. And another thing is, most of the times in industry, people will look at only at the surface level. That is a product, a function, a feature. That's all. But they don't look at some deep emotions, some deep experiences in that. If you start doing it, then you can do two things. One is a commercial product for the mass production and a premium product for a specialized application or specialized service to a few people. These are things, what will happen is, you start thinking in your brain from different directions. So you get different ideas. When many people work together, you get a lot of innovative ideas. And finally, what happens is, you have to work with bottom up, that is from the people who are using that, your employees or your friends, your customers or whatever. Another thing is benchmarking from top. That means in the other countries or in other areas, in other parts of the country, how the people are working or how the bosses or leaders, senior people, they think what the future you want to be. Like that you will take. You see, for example, in our family, if you see, our father may be agricultural. He may think his son to be, he should go up and do some higher studies, then get into some agricultural or software or big industry or big leader like that. Sometimes all agriculturalists in the town, they may say, "Are you take this? Why not you study agricultural? Then bring it, make this village a better one." Like that. That is why the bottom up is also there, top down also is there. All these things, they create different fields of ideas. Sometimes you may have to apply force also. Force or sometimes recognition, sometimes bonus, sometimes rewards as a catalyst. Because sometimes if you put all the people together and then ask them, you bring in idea, sometimes it will come. Sometimes through frustration or failures, you get different ideas. Like this, there are so many. But at the end, what you have to see is, any idea, anything you want to do, you have to see how much value I'm adding to that from the user point of view. If user is not finding a value, he may not be able to take it forward also. So for any idea, when you are giving it, the giver and also the taker both should have a value. That's why what you call is, sometimes it's a growth mindset. That means whatever intelligence you have, if you start doing it, it expands and it goes into different directions. Same way, maker mindset. That is, you go anywhere, you will find some opportunity to make a product or take an initiative and you will be able to deliver that. Another thing is team mindset. That is how is You could able to collaborate with different people and you could able to do work. All these three are required. If growth mindset is not there, you will not be able to do anything. If maker mindset is not there, you may get idea but you will not deliver it. If both are there but you don't have a teamwork, you will not be able. So a person should have all these three. So all these three, if you have to have, it is something like you have to train the brain. Sometimes visualization, pictures, they give some good ideas. And we can easily get into that ideas also. Here what happens is, mostly this visualization and all, it works when you are in doubt, when you are in confusion, or when you want to improve it. Suppose a process you are daily seeing it. When you are doing it, you will not know. But when you are sitting outside and viewing it as a visualized pictures, video, then you will know, I am wasting all this activity. It is waste, unnecessary, like that. So these things, they start giving new improvement ideas. Finally, you have to give value. You have to create a value. Or you have to do the same thing, but do it in a less cost. So all these things will make it, anytime, any activity you have to take it. Am I making a positive difference? If it is yes, you can work. If it is no, you have to think how I want to make it into yes. Then you get a lot of things. And most of the times, innovation, it is on two sides. One is on the top line growth, another is on the bottom line. Top line growth is visible to the market or customer. The bottom line, it is whatever you do, it will be only inside. So you are not adding any value to the customer unless you are giving the product at a lowest cost or at a highest facilities and all. Otherwise, what happens is the visibility you get only when you get into the top line. So when you are taking all these things, finally what happens is you have to see people, you have to see things, you have to see how the situations. Always people are meant with emotions, experiences, whereas things, they are meant to be used, their features and functions. Both you have to club. Then only the product will have a long life and the innovation will have a life which it gives a joy for the regular people. That is the reason why earlier, olden times, there was a product, there was an emotion, experience, deeper meaning. Afterwards, when industrialization has come, these experiences, emotions have gone. Features and functions, there was very good improvement. They have come to such a stage, now again we are looking for some feelings, experience, emotions when you are using that product. That's why the new thinking is a design thinking, wherein it is bringing the people again into the product. Normally, innovation is, in a simple way, if you want to tell, it is a practical application. Whether you are doing or not doing, it is a different thing. But your idea, you should be able to bring it into practical application level. A product or a service or a model, whatever it is. And never think that it has to be only from me. It has to be, I have to generate. Nothing like that. You can get it from your side, within or outside, or you take it from others and combine it, or you take it, initiative, club it together and mix it and bring it in a new thinking, anything. But ultimate goal is you should be able to do some creative thing to make a good thing. And finally, it has to be sustained. So today you may get an idea, you may be able to do it, but unless you do it continuously, it will not be sustaining, and you will not be able to do it in a long run. Otherwise, it becomes one day you'll hit century, next day you'll be duck out. So you have to make this as a discipline, as a practice. So continuously you will be thinking, you have to practice it, and you have to make your body, your mind, your hands, everything disciplined to think innovatively, creatively. For that, what you have to do, you have to build a talent, or you have to train your body, and you have to empower the people, and you have to remove the fear from them. If it fails, what happens? And you have to make it always more than from your idea. You have to think how that idea is useful to the user. Unless it is used, idea is nothing. So with all these thinkings, when you think, the innovation, this is a general beginning. Everywhere you can use it, anywhere. It is irrespective of an industry, you can use it. By using this, another thing is, unless you practice it, you will not get it at the right time. If you are not getting at the right time, after the issue is over, if you get the idea, it is of no use. That is why good, usable and a great idea, it is always the timing and the balancing and acting. That is very important. Don't miss that. If you miss it, you are going away from that. So, what is glaringly different, either as a student or a teacher or organization, if you see, compliance is old method. Innovation is a new method. Old, you are passive. Whatever lecture tells you, listen. Whatever student textbook is given, you will read it and write. But today, you have to be very active. You have to start questioning everything. You have to involve in thinking, in reading, in learning, in producing everything. You will see different thing like consuming or producing, memorizing. Earlier, you will just mug up or memorize and you can write it in exam, you get good mark. Today, you may get good marks, but in life, that marks you have to apply. That means that subject you have to process. Whatever you have learned, unless you process, the memorizing, if you remember, it is of no use. Same way, creating. Earlier, if you copy it, it is okay. But today, if you are not able to create, at least you copy it, but add some better things into that, so that it becomes a creation. Earlier, isolation. Today, it is collaboration. Rigid, fluid. Like that. Dependency, autonomous. Today, everybody is free on their own. Earlier, you are answering. Today, you are asking questions. Why that one? Why not this? Like that. That means, instead of collecting the dots, collecting the knowledge, today you are connecting the dots. That means, you start connecting it and go from one place to other place as an application. Here, the goal is create knowledge and create people who are adaptable and who can work with others and who can create an innovation and bring in new economy. Earlier, you produce, you be the cheapest man, you give the efficient possible things. That was the culture. Today, that culture will not take you. You have to be very creative, very innovative, so that even before the man thinks, you will be giving the product. That is going to drive you. After all these things, as an individual, what do you think? You see, for example, everybody will love to do some things. They may be good in that or not, it is different. But people will be good at some point, some things. And you love to do it, but you are good at it, good. And you are paid for. That means you are in a job where you are doing what you love or what you are good at. Now, after all these three, the world also needs it. That means market also needs it. If you are there, all these four satisfied, then your profession, your living, and passion Everything is there. That means that is a life which anybody would like to do, would like to be involved. That means what you love, what you are good, what you are paid, and what the world needs. Most of the times, all these four may not be so great, so matching. Sometimes profession takes, sometimes living takes, sometimes passion. But ultimately, when you are doing all these things, if you think you are sacrificing, then you will not be able to enjoy. If you are not having passion, someone has to drive you always. So, always look at all these four and work with satisfaction or sacrifice or selfishness or combination, all these things. It is not that you will be doing like everything selfless, self-drive, satisfaction. That come. That is a great thing. At least on few things you will be doing that. And in other cases, at least take it a conserver society than consumer society. Consumer society means everything you grab it, everything selfishly you take it, you do it, you throw it or you waste it, you consume everything, whatever is available in the nature. Don't do it. Take whatever you want and preserve it for the next generations so that you will enjoy it. This innovation and this passion, profession all mixed together, that is what is living. So this is how the innovation, you have to use it, you have to make it a joyful life, and you do what you love it. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.